France has some of the most theme parks in Europe, and many of them come in the form of these small, lesser known parks that really turn out to be hidden gems. One of those that I recently visited for the first time is Parc du Bocasse in Normandy, France. The park is about a 2-hour, 15-minute drive north of Paris in the town of Bocasse. It's a tiny village that's home to less than 700 people. It's kind of far away from everything. The nearest big town is Rouen, about half an hour away, so you really have to make a conscious decision to visit this park. It's likely not something that just happens to be on the way. They opened their doors in 1967 and are home to 5 roller coasters. All of them are for families or kids, so this is not really a thrill-seeker park, but we still had a great time here. They ended up having some nicely themed attractions, a couple bizarre rides, and a charming enough atmosphere that we were able to make an afternoon out of it. We split our day starting at Parc St. Paul and then drove the hour 15 minutes to Parc du Bocasse. It was very, very quiet while we were here. We did get unlucky with the weather at one point. It started raining, so that absolutely cleared everyone out, so we had no problem getting on all of the attractions. Their headliner is a Vekoma suspended coaster like Dragonflyer at Dollywood or Cannon at Far Up Summerland. It's a clone layout. This one opened up in 2021, but actually features some really nice theming. Orochi is a Japanese word that means like snake or serpent, and it's located on the right side of the park when you walk in, also right next to a log flume that's themed to dinosaurs. And for a park that was only like 30 acres, they clearly had no problem dressing this ride up. It had a really nice queue with tons of rock work, some dinosaurs. Next to the tunnel at the bottom of the first drop is a stone carving of a massive dino. It was really impressive. And a ride like this is just perfect for Parc du Bocasse. Even with it only having one train on the tracks, it never got more than a station wait. It was just a very smooth and comfortable experience with some good forces. I do think they should trim their bushes though. Ow! Are you okay? I just hit a bush! The other main attraction they're known for is Fort d'Odin. It's a Soquet mine train that opened in 2004. It originally started off as just a ride in a field, but then later Parc du Bocasse came in, added all this amazing Viking-like fort theming, and it was awesome. This was a roller coaster we did multiple times. Each cycle consisted of 2 laps, which was another nice touch. Again, only operating with one train. Jurassic Twister is actually the only coaster here to even have more than one ride vehicle, but Fort d'Odin overall exceeded expectations. It was a long experience with multiple tunnels and an interesting layout, and I don't think we would have liked it anywhere near as much if the park had just left it in a field like they originally did. And frankly, I think a lot of bigger parks could learn a lesson or two from Parc du Bocasse. Instead of spending money on something new, they spruced up what they already had and just improved that guest experience. But the other roller coasters here are really not anything to shout at. Jurassic Twister is a Zamperla Wild Mouse, barely spun at all. This is like the first roller coaster that you see when you walk in. We were not impressed. Pirates Coaster is a small kids coaster located in the back of the park, alongside Speedy Gonzales, which is another junior coaster. That one we thought was gonna valley. It barely had enough speed to make it through the layout. It was kind of funny. But those are the 5 roller coasters. The park claims to have 40 different attractions in the park. Not all of those are necessarily rides, but there are quite a few things for the kids to do. The entire back section is themed to a farm and just has some really cute rides. One of our favorites was this Bee Dark ride, which absolutely goes down in history as being one of the weirdest dark rides ever built. Basically, you climb aboard the slow-moving vehicle and pass through a bunch of different rooms showcasing bees doing different jobs and activities. Like here they are in a lab, or they're in prison, or they're hanging out at an amusement park. They're on a construction site. They're dancing. It goes on and on. When I say there are hundreds of bee animatronics in there, I'm not exaggerating. And I talked to a couple people that work there. All those bees were made in-house, and it's one of the oldest rides in the park. Once you know that, it makes this ride actually way more impressive. There's onboard audio, there's kind of a catchy soundtrack, and many of those bees have wings. They'll like move up and down. They're very simple movements, but it gets the point across. This was a fun one. Honestly, my mouth was hanging open the whole time. I'd say this was the highlight of the park for us. Other attractions include probably like 15 different rides from Zamperla, one of which is a rare shot tower, which gave a nice view of the park, but overall was a pretty underwhelming experience. I mentioned that log flume earlier. Fun fact about that one, it features an elevator lift hill, and the theming was definitely giving us Jurassic Park River Adventure vibes. If you're just coming for the roller coasters, you won't need very much time, but if you're planning on bringing your family, you can definitely make an afternoon out of it. I don't know how busy they usually get, but if the day I went was any indicator, then you can probably just have the park to yourself. It's a great option for a place to visit while on a budget. Our tickets cost only 25 euros. We just got them at the front gate at this little kiosk and then walked on in. It's a very simple entrance. Actually reminded us a bit of New Hampshire's Canopy Lake Park, their front gate. And once you're inside, it's a very small, quaint plaza. There's a bee fountain, a gift shop, and then Jurassic Twister. Things tend to get more spread out once you get to the back of the park. And the thing here is Parc du Bocasse has a very odd layout. There is a road splitting the place down the middle. To get to the other side, you have to cross via a bridge. It reminded us a lot of Kentucky Kingdom, but these stairs or ramps felt a lot more temporary. And a few of the paths in the park were literally just dirt. They weren't even paved. Definitely watch your steps. Sarah still has a scar on her left leg from tripping and falling on the ground, so maybe that's something they should consider fixing, but it also adds to the personality of the place. It might not be as weird as the nearby Parc St. Paul, but it certainly has its own set of quirks. My personal favorite were the completely random trucks scattered about with the faces on them, which didn't make any sense at all, but absolutely made me go, what the heck is going on? But if I could give one critique to Parc du Bocasse, some areas felt kind of empty, like something was missing. Like there just wasn't a whole lot going on and could use more of a presence. Additional theming or decor could help, or honestly just additional rides. The most complete feeling area was that back section that was all dressed up like a farm. That was nicely done. But if anything, it means they have room to grow. I look forward to seeing what they do next. I think I would go back if they added something like really cool, really interesting. But if not, then this probably is like a one and done for me at least. I was glad I went, but I don't think it's something I would really recommend going super far out of your way for. I enjoyed checking out these smaller, lesser known parks, so it was still cool. I'd actually be sooner to recommend visiting Parc du Bocasse than Parc St. Paul. I think it's a nicer, better run park. But when you compare it to all the other theme parks across Europe, of course, it doesn't stack up. But it's not really trying to compete. It's not on the same level as a place like Parc Asterix, and that's okay. There's still a market for parks like this. So if you find yourself in northern France, definitely consider checking out Parc du Bocasse. Let me know down in the comments below if you've had the opportunity to visit here, if you agree with the points that I brought up, and of course stay tuned for more park reviews here at Coaster Studios, and I'll see you next time.